Welcome to Business Unveiled Podcast. This is the place where we help overwhelmed, time-starved entrepreneurs like you make the profitable shifts to get more done and get more out of life. I'm your host, Angela Proffitt, award-winning 8-figure entrepreneur and CEO. And in every episode of Business Unveiled, I'm bringing you conversations that will give you the expertise and strategies that will scale your team and business so you can get shit done. That's GSD in our world. So get your time back and grow a business that helps you be present in your life. Let's do this, y'all. GSD leader, I wanted to take a quick break from the show to share something super important. Did you know that employee wellness is killing businesses? According to research, 50% of employees miss 1 to 5 hours of work every week due to stress. So I'm excited to announce that we just launched a new workshop called Walk and Work. And no, we're not going to be walking and working the entire time. That would be kind of crazy. Walk and Work is an easy solution that offers an in-person workshop and program that boosts employee health, wellness, and engagement. This interactive workshop takes employees through our 7-step process to establishing healthy habits while working from home or from the office so they can be productive while also taking care of themselves. Employee wellness at work is proven to have major benefits. Numerous studies show that healthier, happier team members are more productive in life and business. Do something today that your future self will thank you for. Your actions and decisions today will shape the way you will be living in the future. If you'd like to learn more about this workshop, visit walkandwork.co and schedule a time to chat with one of our GSD experts. That's walkandwork.co. Now let's get back to the show. You know when you just meet people and you instantly click and it's like, it doesn't matter what they do. You just click with people. And that's what happened with today's guest. So I'm going to read her bio because it's incredible the things that she has done. But before any of this, I just want to say she's an amazing person. Her energy is amazing. She's so positive and upbeat. And my favorite, well, two, my really favorite things is like she's orange. And so I don't know if she's done True Colors yet, but she just is like the life of the party. And when our, energy, it just, you find each other. And so today's guest, she's the CEO and founder of Party Slate. And this is what really connects us is the technology piece. It's a marketplace for party host and event professionals. Before founding the company, she led the sales and service team at Vibes Media, a mobile marketing technology company. She brings over 2 decades of marketing experience working with leading brands such as State Farm, Kraft, 3M, and JCPenney. Prior to Vibes, Julie held a number of leadership positions at Razorfish, including the GM of the agency Chicago office and the GM of the Experience and Platforms Group for the Central Region. This girl knows tech, y'all. Prior to Razorfish, she served on the executive team of agency.com for over a decade, where she ran its global sales, marketing, and corporate strategy organization. She received her MBA in marketing and finance from the Kellogg Graduate School of Management at Northwestern University and a BA in economics from the University of Michigan. She's so incredibly smart. Julie Roth Novak, welcome to the show.
I'm so excited to be here. I loved meeting you in Las Vegas. I know we have a lot of industry friends in common, and I love your energy and your focus on helping small businesses. And I feel that same passion. My kind of expertise is really thinking about digital marketing and how to make digital marketing easier, how to create a stronger footprint around digital, and keep your sanity at the same time. So
it's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's so overwhelming. And it's just, there's a couple of things. So I was with my travel husband, y'all know Brian and Bob Conti in Italy, I don't know, a year and a half ago.
Love them both.
Love them. And they're like, well, you must be friends with Julie. And they said this to me separately. Like one's like, are you friends with Julie? Another one was like, do you know Julie? I'm like, who the fuck is Julie? And people just assume that tech, blonde, but and so I'm like, no, but they're like, Party Slate, right? And I'm like, y'all, I live in a bubble. Like if I'm not working with somebody, like I'm not out there like Googling or anything. I'm like, and there's so many different tech platforms. I'm like, what does Party Slate do? And Bob's like, you just have to meet Julie. Like, you just have to meet Julie. And like Brian kept saying the same thing. So I speak at Wedding MBA. I'm up there like talking about TikTok Academy. And Barbie comes up to me, who I just met at that conference, by the way. And people think that we were like best friends for life.
Yeah.
But we know some mutual people. Pervez and Nikki, amazing photo video team. And we're like FaceTiming them because I just let them know their country. It's such a small world in our industry.
World.
The reason I'm telling you this. And so she's like, are you friends with, do you know Julie? But it's not like, do you know Julie? Everyone's like, are you friends with Julie? Like very specific. And she's like, and I'm like, no. And I'm like, the Party Slate Julie? She's like, yeah. And she literally takes me directly to your booth. She's like, you have to meet her. And then it's, y'all, it's like, you would just think it's like, it's your birthday. It was your birthday.
It was my birthday.
It was your birthday.
And then all of a sudden, Bentler Meeker, the top lighting designer in New York said, I heard you're in Vegas. Why don't you have a party at my penthouse in Las Vegas? I'm like, what? Yeah. So all of a sudden we had this impromptu penthouse party with like 50 people and a DJ and a photographer. And that was amazing. I'm so glad you were there for that.
It was so much. We danced and we TikTok. I still have TikToks and drafts that I need to actually, I'll use one of those to release this podcast.
You have to.
It was so much fun. And so it's just, I'm so thankful we finally got to click. And then here's my favorite story, y'all. So my travel husband and I were together on Valentine's Day. We were just in Colombia together. And we were talking about Party Slate. I'm like, I finally get to have Julie on the podcast because I want her to, share with our whole industry, like why she got into this and like, what's the journey. And y'all, the backstory is Brian did the very first party. And so,
in LA, the first LA party. Yeah.
Yeah. And so he was from there. He's there like 20 years. Now he's in Atlanta. Yeah. He's never there, but he's like, he when you meet somebody for the first time and it's cute what they're doing and you're like excited for them and then they go and raise a shit ton of money, which y'all, like $1 million in tech gets you nothing. Okay. Like you don't even know.
Just hit close to 20 million in funding. So yeah.
Yeah. And so when I started to meet you and then, I went through the whole sales process because I love to see what are people doing and how are they doing it? And then I saw a sales deck and then I was like, my initial thought, I was like, this is so, and I never use this word, cheap for what these people are getting. I'm like, and again, I'm a marketer, so I know what goes into this and everything you all are doing and the visibility that you are giving people. Yes. So with Brad, I'm like, I finally get to talk to Julie. And he was like, I'm like, it's just incredible. It's an incredible resource for our industry. It's B2B. And he's like, I just don't really get it. I mean, I'm like, are you kidding? He was just like, what do you mean? And I'm like,
it's business to consumer and business to business. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I was speaking to him. He was like, what does it do for us? Like he was like, what does it do for planners? Yes. I'm like, well, let me just explain the first thing that is really important. I said, Google your name. This is the best. I said, now I'm an incognito. My computer does not know where I'm at. Okay. Yeah. Like I have a VPN. I'm psycho about that stuff. So you just need to know that. He Googles just Brian Worley Productions and his website comes up first. There was something else. And then Party Slate. Yeah. I mean, I did it to Bob Conti. So I'm like, that is SEO. And he's like, what is SEO? I'm like, search engine optimization. I'm like, basically it's like if people come to your doorbell and you're not there, you want to know who they are, right? Like, or you want to know why they were there so that you can talk to them. That's what this digital footprint thing is.
Yes.
Where Google is just, they call them spiders. And, again, planners and designers, unless they're marketers, they don't know these things.
They don't.
So I showed him and he was like, oh my God. And it's only and he's like, what's this? And what's, so it really, I'm like, Brian, I don't think you realize, when you meet people and they're just fun and they're just amazing people, but then from the business side, it's like, you don't really know how fucking impactful it's been. And what you've done is incredible.
Thank you. We had over 2 million people planning parties over the last year visit Party Slate. So 2 million people. I remember when I was excited about 10,000 people. So that's a big milestone that we hit. In January alone, we had 300,000 monthly active users. And these are all people that are leaning in and planning a wedding, a corporate event, a bat mitzvah, a gala. And 70% of our traffic is driven by search engine optimization, or SEO. So it's writing about things that people that are planning parties are Googling. And I always say, listen, I love Instagram. We're obsessed with Instagram, but that's just one part of your digital footprint. And the reason why Google is the largest company in the world, or one of the top 3 largest companies, is that people start at Google. They don't start at Instagram. They're on Instagram. But trust me, they're spending a lot of time on Instagram, but when they're leaning in and they're looking for a top rooftop venue or a top planner in New York or whatever, that Google is where they start. And there's no question that anyone that would question that Google's not a part of your digital strategy, I don't think is connected to how people actually use the internet.
So the number one myth, we were talking about this, and I'm
Yes.
like, hold on, we got to record, because I agree with you. What we're about to talk about, this is a big deal, because I do operate like this in
Yes.
terms of advertising dollars, but this is different, and this is a digital footprint. And when you create content, which if you're a planner, a florist, and even if you don't do video, even if you don't do reels, even if you don't freaking have social media, you have pictures. We have had pictures. I don't know when wedding pictures, they come out in the 1920s. I should probably Google that. Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go to Instagram to find out, these facts. Everyone goes to Google, and you have the numbers to back it up too.
Yeah,
So what's the
absolutely.
number
And
one myth that you hear?
the number one myth I hear over and over is, I built my business on word of mouth and word of mouth alone. And I believe, trust me, I know this industry, like I am in the middle of this industry. I believe word of mouth is number 1, 2, and 3. There's no question. But as soon as you get a name, like, hey, Julie, who are your favorite planners in Los Angeles? Who are your favorite planners? Who do you like? As soon as I share that list of those top 3, what do? They go to the Party Slate profile, because of course I'm sending that, but they Google the name. And so Google and digital go hand in hand with word of mouth. So in addition to like the people that don't know you and aren't referred to you, that you want to be found, how do you show up when people search your own name? And I don't think very many people actually do that enough, or they're looking for news or press. We at Party Slate don't want to be above your website. Google would never put us above your website, but it takes 7 to 10 touch points, even if you're referred to someone before they reach out to you. They do their homework. I call it stalking. They do their stalking. And like, I'm not going to hire a wedding planner that I'm going to be with for 12 to 18 months until even reach out to her, until I get a feel for like, could I see myself? And what does her Instagram look at? Look at her Party Slate profile, her website. Does she speak to me or he? What does it feel like? What is that digital footprint? So I tell people, you got to have a great website. It can be small and concise. It's got to be a great website that represents your brand. You got to show up in Google. You got to show up the right way. You got to think, I'm like it or not like it, Party Slate, other platforms, we do rank on that first page. So you need to look good there. And then of course, social media and your in-person network, of course, those are important, but just think about, why is Google the biggest company in the world? It's because people start there when they do their research.
I love that. And when you do create consistent content, like blog content, people are like, blog, it's dead. I'm like, oh no, it's not dead. Trust me.
I
I'm
challenge that myth right there. Yeah. Because the only way you get on Google's first page are, and not to geek out here, but long tail keywords. What are those keywords? Not just a word, but a set of 5 to 7 words strung together in a keyword phrase that's going to get you on that first page. And so, yes, some people will just Google your brand. Of course, you'll show up, but they're also going to Google the top luxury planners in Cape Cod. Who's showing up for those phrases, and how do you get there? Blogs are one of the best ways to capture those long tail phrases, because you create the headline, the H1, the content, the photos, try to get people to backlink to you. Let's say your top venues in Cape Cod, and those 5 venues backlink to you. How do you create compelling content? Because that's all Google cares about. Tricks are over, keyword stuffing, forget that. How do you create compelling content that people engage with such that Google's algorithm, which is just a calculation, a formulation, decides you belong on that first page. I'm proud that Party Slate is first page results for thousands of keywords. Like we're not even in Detroit. I say Detroit bar mitzvah planners, Party Slate is there. So we are doing intensive investment, 3 full-time SEO people, night and day, with their hoodies, not to stereotype, but they do. They're in their hoodies and they're, optimizing our platform, and our editors are optimizing our articles to be found so that we can put a spotlight on the best of the best in the industry.
And it is working. Like, I mean, I've seen it, and again, many people aren't going to have like Built With and some of these other tools where you can go in on the back end and like see what things are. And it's like, I can go on the back end and tell when there's a tech company, if they have their shit together based on what they're using, or if they don't.
Yeah.
That's just how it is in this industry. It's
and we know, like, most of our industry is 1 to 10 person companies. Even the Four Seasons, Chicago, there's 10 people in a room that's almost operating like a small business. They don't have a full-time SEO staff helping them. They might have a contractor come and go, whatever, but we're trying to make that easier to be found, whether you're in an article on Party Slate or your Party Slate profile is ranking. Take all your professional content and put it on your profile page. It's amazing compliment. We're not trying to replace your website, a compliment to your website and to your Instagram. Again, we love Instagram. We just beg of you, don't put all of your eggs, not all of them, in the Instagram basket. Make sure you're thinking, how do you show up on Google? How are you going to look on your website? And then, of course, social media.
And it all matters. Like it, and I just, but I've been in this industry for over 20 years. And so it's like one common theme that I see in small businesses, especially in the creative and the design space. It's like, we're not thinking ahead of business. We're not working ahead. We're not doing projections. We're just like, yes, I'll do your wedding. Yes, I'll do your bar mitzvah. And it's like, do you have a minimum? Do you have these things? You can weed out so much bullshit if you fill out these profiles and you fill out Google, and then it's going to feed the information to the right people that can actually fucking afford you.
Exactly.
I mean,
we're constantly like, why do we write articles on like the top galas in the country? Why do we? That's the bigger budgets and the other, it's attracting the right people. The majority of the industry is employed by larger scale events. So I love the backyard barbecue, but that's not employing people in the industry. So we want to support this industry, this creative industry we love, local jobs, great people, by helping to identify people that have bigger budgets to spend, more creative. And that's why we're not going after mass market at Party Slate. We want to go after the top 20%. It doesn't mean just $1 million events, but the top 20% where there is a professional planner, where there is a professional photographer, a venue, those are, and creative ideas. That's really the spotlight we want to put on the industry.
And I feel like I don't feel, some of our clients, small businesses, I'll give a great example of a florist. They've got 4 people. Even the baker that we had a tasting yesterday. And I mean, I haven't been there since prior to COVID. And it's tiny, but there's literally 4 people in the bakery back there. And so it's like, those people know they need Facebook. They know they need Instagram. And by the way, if your Instagram is hacked and you do have all your eggs in one basket,
it's happened a lot more lately.
It sucks. It sucks. And so, but these small businesses, they feel the pressure. They're being shopped daily, getting spam of all these companies that are promising all these things. And then because it just sounds good. And then it's like, but then I'm like, what's the strategy? That it's like the missing piece. And then I'm like, why would you go to someone outside of our industry? Which my true belief is they just don't know. They don't know about parties. It's like florists. I'm like, do you know about Lovingly? I'm like, this would solve everything. Like it's not too good to be true. And I really do feel that way about Party Slate and about the digital marketing from the B2B side. And so for anyone listening who is like, oh my God, I've spent $500 for 90 days and I see no return and no this and no that. Well, when you're just I do say do one thing and do it for 90 days and get the analytics and do it well. But going back to like the footprint and the components and like, what are the priorities? So if you're frustrated and nothing's working, listen up.
Yeah.
If you're overwhelmed and you have it coming from every angle, and what should you do? Listen up, because it's like the components of having a strategy and the priorities. You don't
Yes.
have to be everything to
Yeah,
everybody.
you can't do it all. I mean, you have to
No.
really focus. And when people say, you know, what should I focus on first? It's a really hard question to answer without a written, what I call a written one-page strategy. And I think what's not written down doesn't happen. So in your written strategy, and we have a great template for that, that you probably could do it in your sleep. You really have to understand, you know, what your mission and vision? Oh, it's not just this corny business thing. Like, what is your mission and vision? You know, your core values, you know, what's important to you, and really, what do you want to be the best in the world at? Like, what is that, like that thing, that secret sauce? And if I were to ask you, what's your elevator pitch, and you only had 30 seconds, you know, how I could tell you about, you know, Party Slate, that our mission is to really help people around the world make the process of planning an incredible event easier by connecting them with the top event professionals, venues and vendors around the world. You know, if you can't say that in a really short, you know, sentence on who you are and what you, I don't care if you're a planner or a venue, you need to have that. And then it's like, who is your audience? Who are you trying to attract? What are the essence of your brand? Again, it doesn't have to be like a McKinsey consulting 100-page document. It can be a one-page document. And once you have that, then you have to do an assessment of, what do you have today? You know, your website, your social media, your third-party platforms. You can't invest in 100 third-party platforms. What are your top 2 or 1 that you're going to be investing in? That's right. Are you going after luxury? Are you mass market? Are you wedding only? You have to go through that assessment. Once you have the assessment, then I could help you prioritize. And I'm sure you do the same thing. And I always say, as much as I'd love to say start at Party Slate, yes, Party Slate, I would love to say that. You've got to have a really clean, beautiful, simple website that has a strong handshake. So if I were to look at, sometimes I look at photographer website, I'm like, are you a dress designer or are you a photographer? Like, I'm not, literally, there's no words to tell me. So if you don't have that handshake on your website, that in 30 seconds, I know who you are and what you can do, you have to start there. Don't forget like a full website redesign. The handshake, is it easy to contact you, to see your portfolio? A lot of people are linking out to their Party Slate portfolio under their portfolio section because they can't manage all the photos. It's too mind-blowing. It's too much work. So a simple website is first, and then assessment on your third-party profile. We have a freemium model. Start with a free profile, but I dare anyone to find a better profile page. I'm just going to be honest.
It's good. It's good.
And the Party Slate profile page for this industry. And so start with a free profile, get a great presence. Of course, we'd love you to do premium and our white glove service and everything else, but make sure you have that. And then on social media, you might need an intern or a contractor or an advisor because you can't do it. But just get an assessment of how much are you willing to spend, and what is without that one-page strategy, do not hire a social media person.
Never.
Or get help with the one-page strategy. Get that one-page strategy written down. It could be 2 pages. I'm just using it as shorthand. And then you can go through all of the different touch points, but Google yourself as part of your assessment. Have 3 people that don't know you that well look at your mobile website. You may think it's great. Ask them to contact you and how easy it was to find you on mobile and get who you are and contact you. People are like, oh yeah, I have a mobile optimized site. Oh, great. Let's look at it together. Oh, it's not what you think it is.
Tell them so I want to make sure people understand what optimize means from the phone to, and if you're not looking at your Google Analytics to see where people are looking, that's something else with your simple website.
It's likely 50-50 or a little 60-40. So either way, if you're not, again, you might use WordPress or Squarespace and you're like, check the box. I did a mobile optimized site, but if you did not go through it and do like, it's called a use case, like, how do I find out who your clients are? How do I find out what you do? And how do I contact you? All the way through the test of sending the email, then you have not tested your mobile experience. So again, I've done websites for 25 years, which dates me a little bit before this. And I'm very passionate about it because some of these businesses are so amazing and their digital presence sucks. I'm sorry.
Terrible.
And it's not that they're not smart people. It's they don't have the time, they don't have the help. And so I just, beg of you, start with a one-page strategy. And again, then think through your marketing strategy, prioritize, and again, get help too. Get help. You don't have to spend $1,000 a month. For Party Slate, when we do our white glove service, we have an entry-level package at $195 a month to take it off your plate. I know.
Oh, gee.
I know, I'll call a product team to raise our prices. But again, we know that times 12, that might be money, but we also see people spending 3, 4, 5,000 a month on social media. That's great. You should be doing that, but don't forget how you look in Google. Don't forget on the lean in when you're Googling something, how you turn up, or when word of mouth, you said that's first, second, and third. How do you look when they Google you? Again, that's digital. I'm sorry. Like I'm calling that myth out that social media and Instagram is the only thing that matters. How do you look when people Google you? Period.
And you own your website.
Yep. It's
and
owned.
Party Slate ain't going anywhere.
No.
I mean, it ain't going anywhere. So
Yeah.
it's like, again, when you rank the priorities, like I agree 100%. 100% because
I'd rather for the
Facebook,
website see a thin, beautiful website. When I say thin, 5 great pages that are really, clean, elevated. I always say it's just like, meet the team, services, portfolio, contact. If blogs overwhelm you, don't start with the blogs. That's what you can do. Don't do the like under construction logo. Like I've seen that before. Like blogs coming. Like just you don't need blogs right away. And then you can link out to your Party Slate profile that was custom built for the portfolio sharing tool. You can link out to your social media. But I'd much rather see that than the clunky, like 1990 carousel and like bloated website that just kind of makes you look, it's actually hurting your brand. Yeah. I've actually told like a luxury DJ in New York, I won't say the name, your website is actually hurting you. Yeah. And like he did listen to me and now he's got a beautiful website. So I will be like, I believe in the tough love. I really do.
This is why we are the same person.
Tough love. I'm sorry. Like you got to take it down today. Like that's how I feel.
That's exactly what I do. And people are like, oh my God, really? I was like, I'm like, do you not realize like your links are broken? They're not showing up in a new tab. I'm like, this says is not what it should say. I'm like, your pictures, you drag them onto your desktop and it's like 0137912 and it should be your name and your cut. Like there's just all these little things that no one ever told them. Yeah. You should care about this. So I have 2 really big questions. I'm sure you get this all the time. What's the difference in Party Slate from the knot and like wedding wire and like that world of merging? Just, I mean, I know, but anybody listening or watching.
There's 3 big differences. And I never they are doing a lot of great things. They are all things wedding. So hairstyles, dresses, wedding websites, registry. So think about it as, there's no question they have the most traffic, right? Mass market, like they do a study on like budgets, like $30,000 for wedding, blah, blah. That's amazing. It's based on data and they have really good stuff. We have decided at Party Slate that number 1, we're going after the top part of the market, not just $1 million events. Like we can't build a scale business on that, but professionally planned. We will never write an article on how to save money on your band, how you can do a wedding without a planner, blah, blah, blah. The average price of a photographer is $500 for $1,000. You aren't going to see those type of articles from Party Slate. We are about professionally planned events with enough budget to really provide an exceptional, experience and exceptional photo. So that's number 1. Number 2, this is an $800 billion industry that we're working on worldwide, about 156 billion world in North America or the US based. Wedding is less than half of that money, half. So again, it's still the biggest category, whatever. We love corporate events. We love galas and fundraisers. We love bar and bat mitzvahs and 50th birthday parties. So we believe, and our research shows that when engaged couples come in or other people, they like to look at the corporate events too. They like to, and then the venues that, are premium members, they want Tuesday night events. They don't want just Saturday night. They're booked for the next 2 years of Saturday nights. They want the Thursday night. They want the Tuesday night event. And then we've also talked to planners and decor companies that, to be honest, like the less emotional client. And I'm not saying that engaged couples or social or,
That's
but
us.
yeah, it's like maybe you can do 70% weddings, but can you get a little break with the corporate client that's just like, here's the budget, I'll see you at the party.
Here's a check.
Here's a check. Mindy
Yes.
Weiss, who's kind of been our advisor since the beginning, said,
Yeah.
I did my first corporate event and they told me the budget and then they said they'll see you at the party. I almost fell out of my chair. Because
Yeah.
imagine the creative freedom
Mhm.
that you can have with here's the budget. And to be honest, like blank slate. Yeah, of course, there's corporate clients that are high maintenance also, but
Yeah.
it's much different than this is the most important day of my entire life. And I've been dreaming about it. And everything has to be perfect and reflect me and blah, blah, blah. So we at Party Slate feel for two reasons. One, we want to help everyone get inspired and find great event professionals. And number two, we think this industry is much, much more than just wedding professionals.
Amen. Yeah. And that's it, you said it so perfectly.
Yeah. And then the last thing, I'll add one little thing. If you
Yes.
were to compare profile pages, we don't want to be like a Yelp page, which is like a
Okay.
listing.
Yep.
And the Knot, Wedding Wire, many other marketplaces out there
Yep.
that have a directory are closer to a listing with icons and little things. We want to be a rich portfolio sharing tool,
Okay.
much similar to Houzz, Houzz, my favorite home decor site.
Love it.
When I used Houzz to redesign my kitchen, Party Slate wouldn't be here without Houzz because I had 20 years of digital experience. I redesigned my kitchen. I'm like, this is, can I swear? Now, this is effing awesome.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
throughout my
This-
podcast. Yeah. I mean, just be you. Yes,
yeah. So
absolutely.
this combination of content and inspiration and community and these profile page, again, because I was digital agency and tech person for 20 years, like I wasn't just looking for kitchen ideas. I almost fell out of my chair when I used Houzz for the first time. And it's evolved into like retail and like buying things too. But the core of it is get inspired on Houzz and find the best interior designers, the best kitchen designers while you're getting inspired. And that's what Party Slate's strategy was based on.
I
Yeah.
love that. That's amazing. And I agree. Like we're in the middle of like building a GSD house. And it's like, I mean, I don't even use Pinterest for myself. We use it for our clients, but I did use it, to like get
and Pinterest has a role too. It's
Mhm.
more free flowing of thought and there's a lot of spamminess and ads and things
Yeah.
like that. But Pinterest is one of the biggest sources of traffic for Party Slate. So like it's part of our ecosystem. We push all our content to Pinterest and it comes back to us.
It's just, again, it's amazing. We talked about briefly, you guys really focusing on the pictures and the content and helping everyone in our industry organize the content. And so
Yes.
when you said that to me, and I pulled up my smug mug and I'm like, okay, nobody else does this because we teach it on
Yes.
how to have a strategy to organize your images, how to get them, how to keep it up in a Google. We have a template, a Google Doc, check it off, make sure, we make a column. It's like, did you get the pictures? Did you get the video? Is it posted here? Did you do a blog on it? Like we have it's a massive checklist of every single event. And then we make a folder. It's all organized by country. I mean, it's psycho. But I can find an image on my phone in probably 10 seconds from anything. I know the country, the person, we name all of our events. So you said that to me and I was like, oh my God, there's no one else that like really, and I do not use SmugMug the way like it's
because you're the exception to the rule.
Exactly. I made it up.
That's what I get really excited about. And we're kind of building our roadmap.
Can we talk about that?
Yeah, no,
okay.
Absolutely.
Because that's huge.
Yeah, we're excited about, and we're going to do research. And I do not let me forget. I want you to meet with our product team.
Like, yes, I know I need to.
For so many reasons. So I believe even as the profile stands today, if you have your best photos on your Party Slate profile, and let's say you're doing a venue tour, or you have someone in your office, you're brainstorming, imagine how easy it is on Party Slate to find your images in a visual way. Not most people are like you, where you have it like perfectly organized.
No one.
I just talked to a caterer and they're like, we don't even save in drop boxes. Like we don't even, and they call it photographer stalking. Like this wedding happened in July and I didn't get the photos because no one thinks of the caterer. What if you had all these photos on your Party Slate profile and they're at your fingertips? And even more exciting, make it easy to post on social media, make it easy to download for that proposal. So again, we're thinking through like, how do we solve these pain points? And again, I talk about this all the time, so this isn't a secret. We've already solved a lot of pain points on the profile. How do we take that to the next level? So when the majority of the industry is not super organized and does not know how to use Dropbox and to SmugMug, forget about it. Like, and I'm not talking about photographers, they have their system. I'm talking about the rest of the industry that gets the content from photographers or doesn't get it. And I call it professional photos and videos marketing gold. So
100%.
if you're not using your marketing gold, someone else is. So, you're going to be, and that's what actually hurts me so much. Literally, it hurts me. I meet there's a lot of women in these women founders, a lot of these business owners. And if they don't get better at digital marketing, they will be left behind.
They will. 100%.
Yeah.
It's so, and it's just, I think the reason I'm so passionate about it, like I'm so visual, like I'm not a good reader. It's like, I need to see it, or give me some adjectives and give me some things you like, or let me see your house or whatever. And then I can walk into the ugliest piece of shit venue and I can close my eyes and like, just not everybody can do that. I mean, that's what designers are for, but our brains are very different, like like the logistics and there's not many people I've met that have both, but I know that I need to be this way and have the organization in order to free me up to do these other things. Otherwise a process can't be followed and you can't scale it. And you were forever married to that thing, which some people may be okay with that, but the fact that it's just like when someone says, can you do a $5,000 mini wedding cake for a photo shoot? And, the baker's like, well, and usually these things, y'all, people aren't paying for it. And so now the question becomes, who's your audience? How many people is it going to? What is your reach? I don't care about your numbers on how many followers you have on Instagram. What's your engagement rate? What's the conversion rate? What's the click-through rate? Like, these are the questions that you need to be asking. And if you're not doing anything with the photos, it's just like I hear with the knot all the time. People are like, well, I had a listing, but I don't get anything from it. And I go to their profile and then the handoff, the handshake, you go to the website and I'm like, your website sucks. You have to click 7 times to get to you. If I have to click more than twice, I don't do it. We don't do it. That the user experience matters.
It does matter. And I again, like when I look at some of these clunky websites and I'm just like, oh God, it hurts me to see it. Cause like, I see some of these pros like in action, like we're, let's say we're partnering with them for an event and they're like killing it. They're just so unique, or, mixologists or these luxury DJs, the floral. And then I look online, I'm like, there's a disconnect. And I think some people think it has to be expensive. Like, oh, I have to have a huge budget. You don't have to have a huge budget. You have to have your strategy and you do an assessment and then you prioritize what budget you do have towards the things that are going to really help you build your brand. And so that's why I get excited about what we're doing at Party Slate, because yes, I love, the creativity. I love my team, but we want to help these small businesses be better digital marketers. And it could be, like you said, B2B and B2C. And we want to, like, through our crediting system, when you get credited on Party Slate, those photos show up on their profile page. It's got kind of a LinkedIn component to it. So you're helping each other market to this, this higher end audience. So we know we're not perfect. We have a lot more to do, but we have made it our mission that this industry, we're going to make it easier. We're going to make it more fun to be great digital marketers. And of course, our parties are amazing, which you have to come to. And the parties that we host are fully sponsored, but we have a full digital marketing pre, during, and post plan with those events. So we get about 1 million social media impressions for all of our sponsors from these events, and you get buyers in the room. So like, you've got the best mixologist in New York, and I have 50 rock star New York planners that are being blown away at our events. So our events are kind of the icing on the cake. We're ultimately a technology company, but it's one of the single best ways we can build our community, connect, and then also leverage social media like crazy to amplify how great these events are. And there's a lot of FOMO in this industry. That fear of missing out. Listen, we leverage FOMO. Hey, do you want to be in the room with all these top planners? Join our family. And we think the value's there.
Oh my God, it's so there. I mean, it's just you have like if you don't know what Party Slate is, you have to go to the website. Like that's the first thing. I'm like it's like I can't type fast enough like notes to like ask you because I'm just like there's so many things. So one of the most impressive things I just want to say, and there were people like looking over my shoulder. I'm like, look at how this looks, and then over here it has all the vendors
The
listed. Like
credits. Yeah.
the credit. So again, if you think of even if all your pictures aren't organized, but every event or every wedding or you know, whatever, it's just so much easier to have everything in one place. And if you have an account rep or somebody helping
Yeah.
you
The
do all
white glove
that.
service, like Mindy told me early on, she's like,
Yep.
Jules, the best thing is your white glove service. And I kind of got offended by
Yes.
it. I'm like, wait,
Really?
I'm building this great technology and it should be so easy. But what I learned from that is no one has the time to do it. And she was right. So like I was like, tech is so easy and my mom could do it. But the thing is, you guys are running like Broadway shows every night of the week, and you don't have the time to organize your photos and to do it. So our white glove service, again, very cost effective. We're just an extension of your team. Send us the Dropbox, send us the Google Drive. We'll put it up there for you. We'll credit it. We'll put an SEO description on it. It's like, she was right. I like originally I'm like, what is? And she's like, I just don't want to do it, Julie. Don't want to do it.
Mm-mm.
So let us do it for you.
Yeah, that I built when apps first came out, I got my first iPad and I'm like, I want to build an app. And I gave a guy like 10 grand and he built it and then no one used it.
Yeah.
And it was like a very expensive mistake. I mean, at the
Yeah.
time
Yeah.
where I'm like, oh, people are paying me to do it. Like they
Yeah.
don't want to do any of this shit but it like takes those aha moments.
Yes.
Two things that you said about the parties and the events and there's the power of something that I really want you to know. And so the most important thing really is the follow up of what you
Yes.
do with the shit you get at the party and the
Yes.
connections you make. And to our point, what we just said, we don't have time. And
Yeah.
some people, they don't have a right hand. They don't have an assistant. They don't have an app where you snap a card and it goes automatically into a
Yeah.
CRM. Like they don't have that, right? So when people go to parties and they're like, I invest all this da 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 da.
Yeah.
Well, the reason you have no return is because you have no follow up plan.
Yeah.
But with
The
Party
follow-up is
Slate,
key. And yeah, one
it's
thing that I
everything.
always tell people is you're not going to follow up with 10 or 20 people. You're just not. Pick your top 3
Yes.
and don't just send one email. That's bullshit in my mind.
Yep.
You do multiple touch points. You follow
Mhm.
them on Instagram. You comment on their Instagram because that's like a love letter. Comment.
Yep.
When people share my stuff, I'm like, that's the best feeling in the world, right?
It
You
is.
comment, you post, you DM,
Yes.
you text.
Yes.
Obviously not in the same day. You're not a stalker, but pick your top 3 and do not let go of those top 3. Do not.
And then from the sponsors, right, that are actually sponsoring
Yeah.
at the event. So two things. It's like that you're not going to go in and say you have to do that. Like you're showcasing your stuff. And so be strategic with it. So if you're a mixologist or whatever, you have your logo or you have something in the background or it has the glasses have on it. So as all the planners and designers are doing video and photo, like your logo is everywhere. And then you can say like, please tag us. You have to tell people what to do. And that's the biggest mistake I see. Even at these shows, I walk around and I'm making like behind the scenes videos, like for my marketing people.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is horrible. This is horrible. This is amazing. In fact, I'm about to do a podcast on all the mail, the junk mail that I get of what's good, which is about 5%, and what's bad. And like and it takes a lot to get my attention.
Yeah.
But it's like the ROI on going to your parties, again, the follow-up is already done.
The follow-up is key. And I actually saw a photographer present at a WIPA event about, he was so exceptional. Brian Leahy, you know, Brian.
Yeah.
He talks about, take an Uber to event, don't drive. So in the Uber home, you're doing the follow. I'm like, oh my God, I thought I was good. The follow-up is like not even that organized, but you have to do the follow-up, and the stack of cards that's in your office that's like in a fishbowl somewhere, you're never going back to those. I'm sorry. So you have to do it right in the moment, and don't try to do everyone. Like, it's not a quantity game, it's a quality game. And so do your research ahead who you want to meet there during. I'm really great at, oh, I got to run to the bathroom. I'm sorry, I have to
It's the
prioritize.
truth. It's the truth. Yeah.
There's a really great sales leader that talks about the networking game. Like, if you meet someone that's like, jars pickles, maybe you can connect them with someone that loves to eat pickles, but get the fuck out of that conversation.
Exit.
Exit. And like, it doesn't have to be work.
Exit.
This is business. Like, yes, we like to party. This is business.
Yep.
Find people where there's a mutual value exchange, and limit your time. Nothing against cigar rollers, but we don't have a category for luxury cigar rollers. So I'm sorry, if you're a cigar roller and you're at this event, I'm not going to be spending a lot of time with you.
Yeah. And I just like,
I just don't think that's bad.
No, it's the freaking truth. And anybody who thinks like, oh my God, they're so snotty, bad people. You don't know what you don't know yet.
I have 60 employees that I pay that have families. And my job to my 70 investors and my 60 employees is to fulfill the mission of my company that we set out to build. And so if someone's going to judge me that I'm not talking to the cigar roller, who might be a very nice person, they can judge me because I care about my employees, my investors, and my family and my friends. And that's where my priority is, not equal time to every vendor in that room.
You can't be everything to everybody. You can't.
Just you pick your categories. If you want to meet planners, again, planners have so much power in this industry, and venues too, so much power. The great thing about Party Slate is planners love Party Slate. They're at our events. If you want to meet planners that make shit happen, get into the Party Slate community, because that's what we're doing. Also on our platform, we write about planners. We love planners, like in other categories too. But if that's your priority, figure out, where are the top planners going? Where did they spend time? What conferences do they go to? How can I add value? How can I follow these planners? How can I comment on these planners? What can I do to build those relationships? So you just gotta, in your one-page strategy, focus. Do not try to be all things to all people. Focus.
No.
I'm reading this great book, which I told you, it's not for everyone, so you guys don't all have to read it, but Radical Focus.
We're going to put that in the show notes.
Get focused.
I'm like,
and I'm not saying it's always easy for me. Trust me. I want to do Party Slate Paris tomorrow. It's 2 years out. I said it out loud. It's 2 years out. I want to do it tomorrow. I want to be all over the world. I want to do everything. We are focused on North America and destinations close to North America for the next 2 years. So I luckily have a co-founder, John Howrow, who's very structured, very disciplined, and type A, whatever. And we keep each other in check. When I want to do everything, we go back to our written goals. What do we have written? What are key results that we're looking to do? And we try to say no to everything else.
And that's the key. You have to learn how to say no.
You have to learn to know. One of my executive coaches used to say, I'm going to decline. I'm going to have to decline this time. So like, learn how to say it in a nice way. And the reason I have to decline is I have, X amount of time, and this is my, my priority is X. And thank you so much for asking. Let's reconnect next year.
Which goes back to capacity, which goes back to time blocking, which is exactly what we teach.
Yes, exactly.
How to get control of your time.
Yeah, time is money. And I know everyone says that, but it truly is. So, surround yourself with people that, believe in that. And again, if it's not written, I don't think it happens. So it doesn't have to be long, 1 or 2 pages. What are the 3 things you want to achieve? SMART goals that are measurable in the next 12 months. Break it into quarters, because you can't do everything, one day. And hold yourself and your company and your board, your personal board of directors, which could just be your friends, on what you're going to do to kick ass in your business this year.
I love that. The last big point that I want you to know, and if you're listening or watching, is that So I work with other, we have a lot of clients and some of them are tech clients. And so someone had asked me if I knew this planner in the industry. And the first thing they did was they went to Google, and they Googled the person's name. And then they went to see who this person was connected to on
Mhm.
Instagram. And then they wanted to see who were they connected to on Facebook. And so anyway, by the time it got to me, they had all this data. They're
Yeah.
like, would this person be a good person? Like for what we're looking for right now, we're only picking 50. And I'm like, well, I've never heard of her. And they're like, well, she's done this and this and this and this. And I'm like, okay, well, I Google her name, she comes up, Party Slate comes up, her Instagram comes up, and I go to Instagram, and the only connection was like you, me, and Party Slate. But I instantly, and I'm just sharing my own personal
Yeah.
experience, that gave her credibility with me
Yeah. Mhm.
instantly,
Yes.
right? Instantly. So I clicked. Her profile was beautiful, and again, I'm in the industry, but I've been so removed for so many
Yeah.
years because I've been so focused on creating content and creating GSD and creating productivity. And how can I help people in our
Yeah.
industry understand that if you get control of your time and you actually put a process in place
Yeah.
and you hire the right people,
Yeah.
you can do your passion and have money and have fun
Yeah.
and live your full life
Yes.
before you go.
Yeah.
Like it does exist, but if you
It
don't
does.
slow down
Yeah.
and be still and get the right people and the right things, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
So instantly, I went back to that company and I was like, I know I said I didn't know who she was. I'm like, but in spending probably 3 minutes,
Yeah.
just
And that's
Googling,
how long people have, like, to make an impression. It's like
literally,
literally 30 seconds to 3 minutes of research. So that first page is pretty important. What's on
it's
that first page of
everything.
Google? Yeah.
It's so
And
important.
you can fake it on Instagram. The thing about Party Slate is you can't fake your photo portfolio. So on Instagram, some people post other people's photos. Some people buy followers. There's a lot you can do on Instagram. On Party Slate, you can see the list of venues that planner has worked with, which says a lot about the type of event. Not to be snobby,
Fun.
but I'm just saying, like, what venues do they work with? What decor companies do they work with? How many albums do they have? What do these photos look like? Videos too. We're big supporters on sharing videos as well. But like, you can't lie. Those photos don't lie. You can lie other places, but you can't fake it on Party Slate.
I love that. There's a conference that it's an international conference that we put in to speak to, and they make you put in like in fact, I'm like, they need to be a client because it's like you have to put in like what were your events, where were they, who was the contact, what was the phone number, what was the but like you can't even come into these conferences and
Yes.
much less speak just because
Yes.
you have a media kit. It don't matter.
Yeah.
Like you have to prove it,
It's
show it.
actually like what we say, we call them real events for a reason. They're real events that happened, and there's nothing like the photos don't lie. And we don't share budgets, obviously, in parties for
Sure.
obvious reasons, like no one wants to do that, but you can tell,
Yep.
you know what it costs. And again, we also believe there's beautiful smaller events that don't have big
Yes.
budgets, but it's just about the elegance and the professional nature of these experiences. And again, we believe these events are creating memories, whether it's corporate or milestones or weddings, and we just want them to be seamless and beautiful. And without a professional team, I don't know if you're going to enjoy the party without a
No.
professional team.
Most people don't. If
Yeah.
people want to get in touch with you and Party Slate, if you're listening or watching, and just set up a discovery call. Like the
Yeah.
person, one of your girls that I talked with, I mean, it literally was, I think, 20 minutes,
Yeah.
and I would just listen, and I was like, oh, okay, tell me more.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is really amazing for people who want that audience. And if you
Yes.
think word of mouth, like you got to be thinking ahead. And
Yeah.
if you're not thinking ahead,
Yeah.
and if you have kids and you have a legacy that you could potentially leave, you're screwing your kids, people.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Like,
Yeah.
that's the way you think about it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
what's
I
the
mean, I
best
think
way?
for us, how you can definitely take a look at partyslate.com, and our Instagram is just at partyslate, SLATE. Someone said, is it Party Slave? I'm like, no, it's not Party Slave. It's Party Slate. The
Slay,
name is
girl.
actually come in with a blank slate and really slate in your ideas and
Oh, I
slate in
love
your
that.
professional team. Yeah, that's how I thought of the idea. And it was
Oh,
available.
shit. That's good. Oh my gosh. Come
Yeah.
in with so if you think that your digital footprint is an effing mess,
Yeah.
just clean it all out
Clean it
and
up.
start with blank slate.
Fresh slate. Start a new start. Yeah.
And if you don't want to be doing barn weddings and you want to get into luxury weddings, quit posting barn weddings.
Yes, exactly.
Start with a blank slate. Okay, that's a fabulous way to
Absolutely.
end.
So we would love to help anyone listening to become a better digital marketer, not just through Party Slate. We believe we're consultants on these quarterly calls that we do when we go through analytics. We'll look at your website. We'll look at your Instagram. We're happy. We love doing that. We feel like it's good for the industry, but it's also good for Party Slate. It builds our brand that we're helping. And we do want to, really add value as soon as we can. So you can go to partyslate.com/pro. That's our page to contact us, but also you can DM us on Instagram. And I have my own little fun growing Julie Party Slate.
Yes,
I
you
know
do.
I need
It's
to get
so
my
fun.
reels better, and
You
I know I
do.
need to do more, but I don't dare touch the Party Slate Instagram because I have professional, amazing younger people working on that.
It's so I'm the same way. Like I mean, we have a team that runs all the company stuff, but it's like I actually enjoy I like the video stuff part. I mean, because I like to dance, but
Yeah.
it's so much fun. Okay, so we're gonna put your I was gonna ask you, should I put like the Julie stuff in there too? But like,
Yeah,
yes,
sure.
they can go follow you.
My Julie Party Slate is my B2B channel. So events,
Got
who's
it.
where, all that. And then Party Slate is our consumer, at Party Slate. So
Okay, got it. I was wondering, but that's a great way to like separate the two.
yeah.
To do
And we
like
don't
the
want to start
B2B.
like Party Slate Pro. It's just, too much. So Julie Party Slate is every event
Okay.
you can imagine, the who's who, so I'm with Bob Conti, I'm going to post that. I'm with you, I'm
Yep.
going to post that. So it's
Yep.
really about the people in the industry. And to be honest, a little FOMO
Yeah.
to get that going. And then Party Slate is just about putting a spotlight on our premium members that post gorgeous photos on Party Slate and
It's
video.
awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I'm like, I want to come to a party. Okay, we
Yeah.
got to go to a party. We got
we actually just launched our community page and it's our MVP. So I'm going to send that to you
Okay.
too. I don't even have what the URL is of that, but that shows all our upcoming events.
That's amazing.
And you're
Which I keep
invited.
asking. Yes.
Yeah.
Yay. And I will be there. Like,
You,
that's the thing.
yeah.
I want to know ahead of time.
You should come to Nashville. We're having a big party in Nashville.
Well, that's where I live. Like,
Yeah.
that's where I am today. But when is Nashville? I hope I'm in freaking town.
Yeah. So this is a media sponsorship. So one of our premium planners and our
Okay.
premium bands is having it, and we're the media sponsor of it. So I'm going to
Okay.
email you right after this.
Send it to me. Oh my
And
God.
I'm coming.
I'm like, I have to be in town. Especially if you're going to be here.
I'm coming to this one. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, amazing. If you're listening or watching, thank you so much for tuning in. And be sure to tune in next week to another episode of Business Unveiled. Bye, y'all. That's it for this week's episode of Business Unveiled. Now that you have all the tools that you need to conquer the world and GSD, get shit done, would you share this with your friends and fellow business leaders? One thing that would really, really help us and help new listeners is for you to rate the show and leave a comment in Apple Podcast, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you tune in and listen to Business Unveiled. You can check out the show notes at angelaproffitt.com/podcast and link up with us on social media so you can share your biggest insights. And I want to know your aha moments. Until next week, remember, the profitable shifts and structures you're creating in your business help you be more present in your life. So get out there and GSD.